Did you get a hold of Michelle, by the way?
I left a message.
Okay. Are we on? Yes?
That's Dana's microphone.
Yeah, okay, but we're on.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening at 6 o'clock. This is the Thursday, February 9th, 2023 meeting of the Harwich Finance Committee. As required by the open meeting law, you are notified that the town will be video and audio recording as well as live broadcasting this public meeting. In addition, anyone in the audience who intends to video or audio tape this meeting must notify the chair prior to the start of the meeting. And we have no visitors, so we'll just state that. And just for the record, Dana DeCosta is joining us via live streaming from someplace in Florida. So he is an active participant in the meeting. We have 5 members present in the meeting room plus Dana, which is 6, so we do have a quorum to conduct our business. Okay? So we'll call the meeting to order. First item is to approve the minutes of January 19th, 2023. I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of January 19th,
Second?
2023.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the minutes of January 19, 2013. Dan made the motion and Mark Amorous seconded, just so Judy will get that straight. Any discussion on the minutes?
No.
Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote, unanimous vote, so of those present, thank you. Next item is the Mass Municipal Association Conference feedback. I know that Mark Kelleher, you went. Mark, did you go?
I did not make it.
Okay, so I think, Mark, you're the only one from this team.
Yeah.
Was there, do you have any observations
No, it
or?
was my first time there. I thought it was a very good meeting with the representatives to the State House from the local Cape District. Lieutenant Governor Driscoll was there. She's very much attuned to the septic issues that we're facing. And I think she did give a commitment that she's going to really look into it strongly. And the local representatives made a very strong case that there needs to be more dialogue between the DEP and the towns. The trade show was very good. I picked up some information on newsletter information since the town may be considering that, how to publish and ways to do that. I also picked up some information on capital needs studies, the different companies, and even the UMass Donahue Center offers that. And it was just, I picked up a lot of information that I forwarded to DPW, for example, LED lights that could be used in this back parking lot, energy saving rebates in case of that need for 204 system, just a lot of general information that I thought Sean Libby could find very useful.
I think when you go to those, you probably agree that you find out that a lot of other cities and towns are dealing with the same sort of issues that we're dealing with.
Right.
You know, whether it's water, wastewater, finances, you name it, we're all struggling with the same energy, we're all struggling with the same issues. So it's good to cross-pollinate, if you will, and you probably made some good contacts up there that could lead to something in the future. So.
Yeah, no, I really did. I've never been. I think if you haven't been, you should, should try to go at one point, just to see every 350 cities and towns that are there.
That's cool.
And the different leaders. And, they had basic classes like how to conduct meetings and, just a lot of practical down-to-earth information.
Cool.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Anything else on that? Okay, next is the debt schedule update. I just want to point out, Dana, I circulated, to the team, all the information reports that I got from the finance director as they existed. I don't know if I'm going to get any updates or not. And I don't know if you and Michelle have done anything on the debt schedule per se, but one observation I had, it didn't look like the original phase or 2 of East Harwich got flipped into debt yet. I didn't see that on the debt schedule. Maybe I missed it.
No, I didn't see that either. We did meet last week and I got information from chairman of the assessors, Richard Waystack. He gave me the missing pieces that we needed to complete a document that will give us an idea of what homeowners going to pay as we go forward with the capital plan. And she was working on putting that together for us to print out to everybody.
Okay, so I will, more to come on that, but I will point out that Michelle and I went down and sat with we made an appointment and sat with the water commissioner, not the water commissioners, with the water superintendent, Dan Pelletier, one water commissioner, Noreen Donahue, and Sandy was there, just happened to sit in the room with us and be part of it. And I had asked them if they would walk us through what wastewater might look like dollar-wise over the course of a 20 or a 25-year period of time, because I have kept hearing we're condensing 40 years down to 20 conceivably. So we spent about 2 hours when we walked through all that. I stood a little flip chart and went through several pages and made notes and whatnot. And from that, Michelle has put together a spreadsheet, which is now being reviewed by the folks at, Associated Wastewater, just to make sure we got it right. We talked about the potential for, or the likelihood that, 30% of the whatever you're going to need is going to be paid for as a grant or something from the state. So we're going to run two scenarios. One assumes we're paying the full debt, and one where 30% is forgiven basically, and we're paying the rest. And the intent is just try to identify and put something out there that we can feel comfortable with at some point. It may take us a while to get there, but when someone says to us, what's the impact potentially of the sewer project or wastewater, then we can have a basically intelligent discussion and have some kind of analysis that says, okay, this is the way we see it. Doesn't mean it's going to work out that way. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns. Do we actually do something with Dennis? Do we end up building our own plant? What's the timing of all this stuff? But basically, every couple of years, you're doing a major tranche of, projects, no matter whether it's, one part of town or another. They're all about the same sort of dollar number when you get all done. Okay, it's $50 million here. Okay, it's $50 million there. So we'll be working on that as long as you guys are okay with us doing that. But I will say that the water wastewater people are very helpful,
Great.
and very enthusiastic about about trying to help us figure out what's this going to take to have this happen. So, and we're not trying to get around the Board of Selectmen or anything like that. We're just trying to put some numbers on the paper and make a graph, basically. Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. The finance director had sent us after Karen and I had met with her 2 months ago,
Yeah.
month and a half ago,
At least,
something like
yeah.
that, whatever.
Yeah, it was a while.
We met with her and went through the list of reports that this committee needed. And she, rightly so, told us that her responsibilities include debt schedule, operating budget, details, old articles, receipts, recap sheet, overlay, and some OPEB information. So I sent that out to everybody I think a week or so ago. Hope you got it. I didn't want to print it all out for today. It wasn't, I have a copy of it, but it's not something we want to discuss today. But you want to become familiar with those things as we go forward. Dana, I don't know if you have any words of wisdom on old articles, what some of our folks might be looking for as we go forward in old articles that might be used. Of course, we don't know what articles are coming this year yet, but any prior history you might have in that topic?
Yeah, one thing is to be careful of the stuff that they're still working on, but there were quite a few on the list that dated back to 2019 that I thought that, as boards and committees and department heads come before us, that I would pull some out to ask what's going on with this. And for example, the Chamber of Commerce hasn't collected their $30,000 a year for the last couple of years, it looks like. And I just wondered where that was, but that was some sort of, usually they get quarterly payments for a year, and that's how they get their $30,000. So I wanted to, I'm going to go through the list and prepare for the March March meeting a list of questions in category that I think looks suspect to me or look like possible, because it's $4 million at $4.8 million, and some of it's being used right now, but some of it certainly could be brought back into the present fold if it's authorized, and that helps us with the debt schedule and all those things.
Yep, okay. Anything else on that topic? That is, ripe for a look at, and if you want to share that with us when you put something together, that'd be great. Okay.
Yep.
Under announcements, we have 2 public hearings scheduled now, both on March 9th, which is at our regularly scheduled meeting in March. That'll be the public hearing on the capital outlay plan and the public hearing on the FY24 budget. Dana and everybody, I was thinking, if we go back, by the way, tonight we're in the small hearing room, they call it, in Town Hall. For the last couple of sessions, we've met over at Channel 18 studio, which seemed to work out nicely as far as the arrangement of the committee. But I was thinking if it's available for that meeting where you have 2 public hearings, you may want to have a little larger space, and maybe we try and see if we can get the multi-purpose room and move a camera in there, just in case somebody shows up, and wants to talk to us. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for that meeting.
okay. And Mark, wherever we have the meeting, can I prevail upon you to make sure we can set up to at least display the budget and display the capital outlay plan? Have some mechanism, whether it's
Yep.
on the wall and, whatever.
Thunderbolts and lightning.
Huh?
Thunderbolts and lightning.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, make us look
Pyro.
good. Okay. And Danny, you are, you had those 2 notices of the public hearing in the works, right?
Yeah, they're already at Town Hall, and Danielle is going to schedule them appropriately, and it will be in the Chronicle 2 weeks prior to the meeting, and it will also be in the Chronicle the following, before the meetings. And
Okay, and right now, is it posted for the studio at the community center?
no, the way the public hearing works is you tell them to refer to the agenda for that night.
Okay,
Not exactly where it's going to, so we have time on that part. We just have to properly notice that we're having a hearing on the budget.
okay, all right. So we have that covered. Remind you all, it's Saturday, March 4th. I think it's 9 to 5. We're having a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen, as we have done many times in the past, to go through as many of the department budgets as we possibly can, to give ourselves a snapshot, time, a chance to answer or ask questions relative to the budget. I do not have a date when I'm actually going to have budget books for you, but the town administrator is due to turn over the budget to the Finance Committee fairly soon, yeah.
When you have the budget meeting on that Saturday, will there be a schedule ahead of time? Who's gonna go?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And we try and keep to the time. I'm making this up, some, and don't hold me to this, but, typically like police and fire, you may need a half an hour. Highway department, you may need 40 minutes. Maybe the cemetery folks come before you and they have 10 minutes. I don't know, it depends on how big their budget is and if there's any complications and that kind of thing. It's our chance to ask questions. One thing I always try and pick up on as you go through everything, are there new positions or new bodies in the budget, and what are we doing? We're gonna make that a separate article. What are we doing? That kind of thing. They're gonna bury it in the budget. What are you gonna do?
Is it a good courtesy ahead of time, like if you had some technical questions, to maybe funnel it to you, to funnel it to those department heads so they'd have the data for that meeting?
Oh, you can do that. That's fine. And they may choose not to answer it, or you can ask it at the meeting. But yeah, it's not good to hit. It's not good to hit somebody with, give me the calculation on,
Well, yeah, just some information they may not have at their fingertips, just to give them a heads up that.
Yeah, I mean, if you had some specific interest, and, like, I'm making this up, why are you buying 7 nozzles when you're only buying 6 hoses? You know what I mean, or whatever.
I know what you're saying.
You know, that kind of stuff, so. The intent is not to get too bogged down in the minutia, because otherwise, if we don't stick to a schedule, you just don't get through it. It's more like, okay, tell me what's new, or what's different than last year. You know, you had a budget last year other than, you know, what the cost of medical insurance is and blah, 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 blah. What's new in your budget? Oh, we decided to launch a new program to do this or do that. You know,
They're
that's
supposed to be
something.
putting a side-by-side view together, which will be really helpful, because
Right.
it should help eliminate going through all the stuff
Right.
that stays the same.
Right, exactly. So, all that is really good. And, you know, I did send out to everybody, Karen, there's only one sheet of each one, but Karen is working on the spreadsheet to try and get us organized about the budget, you know, going forward. And she will update this as we get more information and keep it going. And it'd be a good way just to look and say, oh yeah, you know, why is the finance committee budget up? Oh, okay, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, the finance committee reserve fund is 50 grand. We didn't spend any of it last year.
My
Dan.
understanding is that the selectmen got the budget at their last meeting,
Monday night,
Monday night, yeah.
There's some revisions that have to be done. I
Is
mean,
that-
there always will be, but there was some fairly
I
significant.
think there was some, I'm not getting into it, but I think there was some just basic math errors. and
Right.
Things that weren't making a lot of sense, and they gotta clean up.
Now, was that a draft version?
Well, the budget
It's
gets,
due.
once they vote their budget, it gets sent to us. So that
21st, I
they
think.
deliver it to us, right? And then from there, it's basically our budget at that point in time to work over and do our thing with.
They'll say draft up to the day of the meeting, but
Yeah,
if the bulk of the information's there, it's just some of it was incorrect, apparently.
yeah. So, okay. And thank you, Karen, for doing that. We
No problem.
appreciate that.
It's pretty easy now once you get the numbers in the right form. If you get it in the format that they've been using,
Right.
it's pretty easy just to
Yeah.
plug in the numbers.
Yep, okay. We still have on here FinCom liaison updates. I don't have any. Anybody else does?
My groups haven't met since we last talked.
Okay.
The Monterey Regional School District was in the newspaper today, 3.8% increase charge on the assessment to Harwich for next year. And they're still waiting for figures from the state, but that's they feel that's a pretty good figure. You know, in general, they're still suffering from the effects of the pandemic, trying to bring kids up to speed. Anticipate next year when some federal money runs out that they will still need some adjustment counselors, so
Yep.
that's just a forewarning of what's to come. But they did do a great spreadsheet on what the charge would be to Harwich if it wasn't for the new school formula, which I'll be happy to share probably the next meeting, just to give you firm figures, but it was substantial.
Did they indicate the increase or decrease of students in the district and that kind of thing?
Basically level.
Level?
Basically level, yeah.
Okay.
There's not been any major.
Are they looking to add any new positions or?
Well, they do have some new positions, yes, they are, but nothing that is, you know, it's included within that 3.8% increase. So, they're not gonna do any roofs, no major capital improvements this year, because the state has chosen not to do it, but, yeah, the enrollment is just about the same as it has been. It's stayed level. The number of students at the high school has increased and is expected to continue to do so. So they're actually bringing in students from some of the charter schools, the school choice. They're getting some school choice students. So, I mean, overall, they're doing a great job. It looks like they're bringing students in, and you know what they're trying to do is just improve instruction to bring the kids along, especially in the elementary school.
And how about kids going out? Is there any data on that?
I don't have it right here. There are kids that go out, but it's not a major
Yeah.
factor.
I mean, it's always nice to draw a little box that this is a school,
Yeah.
and you get school choice coming in, you get school choice kind of going out, just, yeah, let's see what it looks like.
So anyways, they're going to finalize it in another couple of weeks, and they'll present it to the selectmen. But The main thing is 3.8% increase. I think you can pretty much depend upon that.
Yep, okay. Are all their contracts, labor contracts signed?
Labor contracts are all signed. I think this is the last year of the 3-year contract with the teachers.
The year we're in or the one coming up?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And by the way, it's a fair question to ask on the town side whenever we get into it, is what the status of all the different labor contracts are. I think when Joe was in here, he implied that, remember he came in with our request because there was, at the special town meeting, he had to clean up basically his management union
Yeah, yep.
came
Yeah,
to an
we gave him a
agreement, and
few
they were the
bucks for
last
that. Yeah,
ones,
that was
and
the
everybody
last.
else was signed, yeah. So, but we'll get an update on that.
Excuse me, Peter, one important bit of information. Due to the new assessment formula, Harwich paid $741,000 less this year than it would have
Wow.
without that new assessment formula. Chatham paid $741,000 more. So that's a big factor.
So when you say up 3.8%, is that after we squared up with Chatham?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's with this taken into the budget.
Yeah, okay. All right, good, thank you. Okay, I sent you all something from the clerk about 2 weeks ago. I think it was January 26th or 7th, about ethics training. It looks like we're all required to get on the same 2-year cycle. I know I took it last year. Dana, I think you took it last year when you came on the board.
I think
Yeah,
I took it
Dan.
last year, too.
Yeah, a lot of us took it last year. But no matter where you were in the cycle, you got to get in the 2-year cycle. So by April 7th, you need to go on the state website and go through the course. I actually thought it was simpler this year. They only asked like
Very
5
simple.
questions, so.
And they didn't, like, they just told you if you were right or wrong and explained it, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's just a commitment of time,
Yeah,
really,
and-
about an hour and a half, 2 hours or something.
And when you get all done, you can print out a certificate. You don't have to. But when you finish the course, that information, the fact that you took the course and passed it, goes right to the town clerk. So she will maintain the records. You don't have to take this down to the
Right.
town clerk.
Yeah, it automatically goes to her.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's really pretty straightforward. It's literally if you have,
Yeah, I had a little trouble with time of day getting on it, but when I went on at 4 in the morning, it was easy. I got right through.
heck, bet.
Nobody else.
That's when you send your emails out, right?
Yeah,
nobody's there to
always.
answer my questions, so, it just kind of goes like that. Okay. All right, do you have anything else you'd like to discuss this evening, ladies and gentlemen? I don't want to keep you. Nope. Dana, will you contact Channel 18 and try and work that out between you and Judy about the posting of that meeting for the public hearings on the 9th?
Yes,
Okay. All right. And if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. We can do it in a Channel 18 studio, and if some people come, we'll, pull in the tables or pull in the chairs, but we'll make it work one way or the other.
yeah.
Okay?
I'll try to get a larger room, and see what's available, and then if not, then plan B will be that room.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make it work. I mean, I don't ever remember a time when anybody shows up, but it just strikes me that with, the capital outlay plan this year and that kind of thing, that, and maybe, some, I don't know, kind of disruption in our financial management team, if you will. We may end up getting some people that want to show up and ask some questions.
So
I
you
don't
think
know.
there'll be like water questions and stuff that night?
What's that?
Water, sewage, well, that kind of stuff?
Well, it's on the capital outlay, so it could be.
I'm just wondering if we should ask Dan if he can join.
We should ask Dan. We should ask Joe Powers. We should.
That's a big one that I
we
just
should
don't
have
know
those.
that would have clean answers to,
Yeah, yeah. And again, you don't know who's going to show up.
Right.
I've had meetings with none, I've had meetings with 1 or 2 people, one remotely and one there. But I've never had 4 people at a meeting,
Yeah. Well, it is a requirement, and a lot of times people
Right.
just figure, hey, they're going to tune in when we do the Saturday session, or they're going to watch what happens in the meetings between now and town meeting. Okay? All right.
Sounds
Anything
good.
else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Mark moved it. Mark seconded. Non-debatable. We are adjourned. Thank you. See you,
Bye,
Dana.
Dana.
Bye, Dana.
Have fun.